Mookie Betts airs his frustrations about the slow, in his mind, transition to shortstop. This comes after a 2-error game on defense. He's admitted it's been a struggle at times. So the question is, are we worried about Mookie Betts? Should there be a shortstop contingency plan in place for the Dodgers? We get into thoughts on Mookie. We feature some Miguel Rojas. We feature Mookie Betts himself and Dodgers broadcaster Steven Nelson on another edition of the All Dodgers podcast. First, quickly, my name is Clint Pasillas. You can find me as Real FRG on the Twitter, X, on the Instagram machines. The links are in the description below. I'm a longtime baseball writer, sports editor. I've covered the Dodgers for years, and now I'm doing it here on my All Dodgers YouTube channel. Consider subscribing. Consider giving this video a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up if you're all in on Mookie Betts not really having a problem at shortstop, because that's what this video is all about. So let's dive into what we will call Mookie's struggles, with some air quotes in there. So, again, Mookie, he shows his frustration after a 2-error game at shortstop last week. He has admitted to some struggles with the whole process of becoming a major league shortstop. Of course, played the better part of a decade in right field, has hardware to back it up. He's a Gold Glove award winner in the outfield, now moving into shortstop, into the infield as a shortstop in his 30s. It's a lot. And what he said after the game, after that 2-error game, quote, it's really, really hard, the transition to shortstop, and that he thinks his defense has, quote, has been not very good. So did not mince words with himself there. So we wonder, are we worried? Or I wonder, are we worried about Mookie Betts? Should there be a shortstop contingency plan? As I said at the top of this, would you move Mookie back to second base? Maybe send Gavin Lux down, hand the keys to shortstop over to Miguel Rojas, particularly when you get into a postseason. We will get back to these questions, but by the numbers, Mookie Betts been not that bad. This is a situation where well, I'll offer my thoughts in a second, but heading into play on Monday, he had 6 errors at shortstop, tied for 5th most in baseball, but did have 3 defensive runs saved at shortstop, which is 3rd best in baseball, and of course still putting up MVP offensive numbers at the plate. Maybe even MVP numbers you could bet on using our friends at Bet Online, because Bet Online is your #1 source for all of your summer sports. This season, you got MLB, you got golf, you got NBA playoffs, you got NHL playoffs. Everything is going on. Get all the latest stats, news, and scores available right at your fingertips. Follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds, lines, including the latest news about your team, the latest matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. I got to tell you guys, head to the website today. Use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online is where the game starts. And I know Mookie Betts would love to start feeling better about his game at shortstop. So segue back into our topic as we hear from Mookie on just some of his early thoughts on those frustrations after the multi-error game.
Making errors really bothers me. It really, really bothers me. And so you just got to be better than that, man. That's really all it is. And it doesn't just affect me. It affects Pax, going and having to throw, 10, 12 more pitches. And so I got to keep working.
What's been the biggest learning for you with this?
Say it again?
The biggest learning for you?
This is really hard. It's really, really hard. And but it is what it is. I got to do it, and I enjoy doing it. But the main thing is it's really, really hard.
Now, again, just frustrations, just kind of reading the room, reading the body language. This is somebody that feels down on himself. He not only letting his team down in his mind, and as he said there, in his mind, perceptively you're letting your team down if your pitcher has to stay out there and throw more pitches. But he's just not as good at this, being shortstop, as he is at right field or has been at right field. But he also has a lot of sweat equity as a right fielder. So this is a guy that's always good. He's good at everything. This was a point of topic we had on my other show that I co-host with former Dodgers reporter and now Dodgers reporter again, Alana Rizzo, on our Dodgers Territory show, where we spoke with Dodgers broadcaster, current play-by-play man Steven Nelson, getting his thoughts on the Mookie situation, and Nelly agreed with the idea that, this is kind of the first time Mookie's faced adversity in some way as a big leaguer, and maybe it's not that he doesn't know how to handle it, but it's just a challenge to sort of handle it. But let's listen to Nelly here for a second. We got some good stuff from Steven. But we got to switch to the other big storyline right now. Mookie Betts, makes that transition to shortstop, but now he's talking about really, quote, really, really hard. Of course, that it's not a transition that's ever been done. You get to see this guy in the house on the field there when you are covering the team, when the great Joe Davis is out doing better things than calling Dodgers games. What are you seeing with Mookie in this transition, and just general impressions of it?
If I were to just look at it objectively and take all the context of the team out of it, you're seeing somebody who has generally found everything in life athletically easy to come by, right? That's always been the thing with Mookie Betts. He makes everything look easy. Oh my gosh, he's one of the one of the best baseball players on the planet, and he can shoot hoops. He could drive the golf ball 330 yards. What can't Mookie do? That has always been the thing, and that has been challenged internally.
Yeah.
In relation to his Hall of Fame expectations of himself, right? That is sort of like the lens that you have to keep in mind here, is that this is not just any player with any, sort of approach to his profession. This is somebody who wants to be in Cooperstown more than anything. He wants to be remembered as one of the all-time greats, and he wants to leave a lasting impact on the field. And so now he's been put in a position to do something on an everyday basis, that's play shortstop, that he has not done since he was a high schooler, since he was a baby. And now to do that at the highest level on earth, to talk about that is one thing. To talk about Mookie Betts doing it is one thing. To actually do it is another. And so I think what I would like for Mookie is to give himself a little grace, and that is, as someone who is also trying to work hard at their craft, that's easier said than done. You want to be perfect. You want to nail. I want to nail every call. I want to nail every pitch. That does not happen. Mookie Betts wants to nail every ball hit to him at shortstop. It hasn't happened, and you know what? It's okay if you're accountable for it, which he is. Maybe too much so, but that's just the perfectionist in him coming out. So I would just hope he gives himself a little bit of grace. Lean on the fact that he has been excellent at everything he has done throughout his life, and so just give him time to get there again. I do believe that he will get there. Now, that's just the human side. To answer your question, objectively from a baseball standpoint, is how much time does he get to do it? I think that's going to be a fair question for this team to ask over the next couple of months ahead of the trade deadline. Is because this team is World Series or bust every single year, especially so this year. No one shies away from that. No one's running from that. So is Mookie at short or Mookie at second the best route to get there? So that is going to be a question, and a fair one to be asked over the next couple of months. I will not argue against that.
So restating all of that again, kind of a bit of, I'll take some liberties with Steven Nelson's words. This is the first time Mookie has struggled at anything in his own eyes at the big league level. And again, the focus there is in his eyes, in his own eyes. It's the first time he's done this. Again, this is a 6-time Gold Glove Award winner in right field. Defense has always been a source of pride for Mookie Betts. He's got the highlight reels. He's got, again, the hardware to back up the fact that he is an elite defender, a Major League Baseball defender in the outfield. But now he's very much in the spotlight at shortstop. the whole world knows about this transition, about this move. He's involved in every play, where in the past he's kind of admitted to, it gets a little boring in the outfield from time to time. Right field can get pretty boring, especially if you're playing in the crappy like co-ed softball league, but that's just my personal experience to throw at this. But now he's in there. He's in there at every moment. He's involved in every play. You always need to be moving as an infielder, and it's a work in progress. We knew it would be a work in progress for Mookie Betts, and all in all, the eye test, I'm a big eye test guy. For people who have watched me, listened to me for a long time, I'll go off the gut instinct, the eye test a little bit more than the numbers, and it has not been bad per se. It was something I was more worried about entering the season. Those concerns have been quelled on my part, but it's just not up to Mookie's lofty standards. So let's hear more from Mookie.
I think it's been not very good, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a work in progress. And my first time doing it in a long time, and but you got to start somewhere, and at least with me feeling like I'm on the lower end, there's nowhere but up to go from here.
Do you feel like you have it kind of going, like making progress steadily, just a lot month and a half, just improving in positions like that?
Yeah, I think I've definitely made some strides, but there's some pretty short strides. I need to try and I can't speed it up. There's no way to really speed it up, and as bad as I want to, as bad as I want to be good at it, it's hard. It's hard for everyone, and I just started doing it, and so experience is going to be the only thing that's really going to teach me.
So we know with Mookie, we know with any Dodger, it's never going to be for a lack of effort. It's never going to be for a lack of trying. Any sort of failures or struggles is never going to be for a lack of effort or trying. This is a guy, Mookie Betts, is out there every single day on the infield, maybe even to a detriment to himself, because he is 31 now. He's making this move. He's playing games, but he's also playing, not full games, but he's putting in a lot of work on defense before games, putting in that sweat, getting those legs tired, when the whole idea of moving to the infield was kind of to take away the extra moves, the extra walk, the extra steps going out into right field, which is something he had talked about in the offseason. But part of that experience for him, part of the work in progress, has come or is coming with working with defensive wizard and teammate Miguel Rojas on that infield every day. A lot of work going in before games, as we've mentioned, and of course when they're playing side by side with Mookie at short and now Miggy Rowe at second base against lefties, there's more opportunity there for lessons, for coaching and all that. So on Dodgers territory last week, we did speak with Miguel Rojas about his relationship with Mookie Betts and the process of learning those little things that you need to learn along the way that you can't really teach in non-game situations. So here's some Miggy Rowe for you.
You are teaching Mookie Betts, an MVP and a guy that is so unbelievably talented, how to be a better shortstop. I love that because you're so good defensively. What have those conversations been like?
Yeah, it's been an open communication between both of us. As soon as he received the news that he was going to play shortstop in spring training, and he know it was going to take a little bit of time. It's going to be a process, and everybody in the organization knew that. Just growing pains will be on the way. But at the end of the day, it was like Mookie desired to get better every single day, and actually being open to be not taught how to do things. It's just like for me to be there if he have any questions about experience. Like for me, I've been playing shortstop my whole kind of life, and I'm in the position, and I've been seeing it like almost at all. Even though in the games you got new opportunities, new ground balls, new plays that you're gonna kind of have to make. But at the end of the day, I feel like any question that he can have, or any kind of updates that he needs to have after the game or anything like that, I can be there for him. And that's what I'm doing, being a good teammate.
So some final thoughts on this whole thing, and I'll throw to you guys because I do want some opinions on this. I want to read some comments and see where people stand with the Mookie Betts shortstop situation. But if you go back a month, even a few weeks, I would say Mookie finally sort of said or sort of leaned into what some of us have stayed thinking about since spring training. Shortstop is hard. His move to shortstop is hard. It's something that's going to take time, but the big question is this the answer? Is he the answer? Is him, Mookie Betts, shortstop, the answer for a team with championship aspirations? And that's a question we really can't answer at the moment, not until we get into the playoffs. But you do wonder. Another one of the questions with this is, should there be, as I've said a few times, I've asked a few times, should there be a contingency plan at shortstop? And there sort of is with Miggy Rowe, but it feels like the Dodgers would be much more likely at this point in time to stay with Mookie rather than play Miggy Rowe every day, or even try to swing a trade at the trade deadline, because this year there are no Trey Turners available via trade. I've said it a few times on live streams. If you're looking at a Willy Adames trade, that ship might have sailed because the Brewers are in contention in the National League Central. So it would be much harder. It would cost you a lot more to try to pull one of their best players in a trade at the deadline, unless they just drastically fall off. But even so, if they fall off, maybe not drastically, they fall off minusculely, a little bit, and they identify their own needs, they're going to try to add to the team. What I'm trying to get to here is they're going to try to add to the team rather than trade people away. So all that said, all of this, I've already kind of stated it. I will restate it again. Are we worried about Mookie Betts at shortstop? I'm not. I'm finally kind of not. I like the fact that he's pissed. I like the fact that he wants better for himself. He wants to be the best, and even making a play. He talked about, he was asked in his press conference after making the 2-error game, having 2 errors in one game, and he came back and made a really, really nice play, perhaps a better play. He's like, doesn't mean anything to me. That's just doing my job. You want that attitude. You want that in your shortstop. You want that in your captain. And I think Mookie Betts is the right captain for this team. I think he can do it. I think he can pull it off. But one thing I would argue is maybe this team, maybe Dave Roberts, maybe the front office should consider taking him off his feet a little bit more, giving him a little bit more rest along the way. He did just get his first day off over the weekend, his first true day off. Of course, there was a number of baked-in days off in the schedule, but giving him a little bit more, because these games don't matter as much as the ones in October, even as the ones in September. We've seen Mookie Betts go on a tear, and we've also seen him get burned out, and that might be what we saw in 2023. So I don't think there are better shortstop options out there that offer the complete package that Mookie Betts does. But what do you think? I want to know your thoughts. Should the Dodgers keep an eye on the trade market? Try to be a little creative. If so, who would you like to see this season? And if you think Willy Adames, throw it in there. I'm interested in seeing some trade package ideas that could make a move happen, taking into account, rather, that the Brewers, very, very highly unlikely at this point in time to be sellers at the deadline. The final question I have for you: are you worried at all about Mookie Betts and the Mookie experiment, if we even want to call it that anymore, or the Mookie era at shortstop? Sound off and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're watching, please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not. We are trying to get to the 7,000 subscriber mark, and you can help us do that with just the click of a button. It is completely free to do that. That's all we're asking. I also want to thank our Patreon supporters here who help support the channel. Another way that you can help support the channel beyond just hitting that subscribe button is joining us on Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. There's a couple of perks in there. You can join our Discord server. You can get access to the voicemail hotline, all for less, much less than the price of a Michelada at Dodger Stadium, much less than the price of the gray uniform Shohei Ohtani bobblehead on OfferUp. You can help support independent Dodgers coverage here on YouTube. I am Real FRG on the social media. The links are in the description. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online, and I'll see you on the other side.